What is going on, guys? My name is Chaotic and welcome back to another Grand Theft Auto 5 video. Now in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a few things with you guys that you may not be aware about with the further adventures in Finance and Felony update. This is part 3. If you guys want to go ahead and check out either part 1 or part 2, the links are in the description. But there are so many awesome things in this update you guys may not be aware about. Hopefully I can shine some light on those things in this video. So let's go ahead and get straight into things. So first of all, what you may not know is that you can in fact change your assistant's appearance. This works with both male or female assistants, but basically what you want to do once inside of your office is open up the interactive menu and select office decor. And basically when you select a different office decor, your assistant will change accordingly to match the theme and style of that office. As you guys can see, the assistant has now changed both her hairstyle and clothing. When I go ahead and change it again, we've got the same hairstyle but different clothing this time. But I'm sure you guys get the point. Each office decor will give your assistant a different look each time. So if you guys aren't really too happy with your assistant's appearance, but you don't really mind which office decor you go with, you can go ahead and select a different one so you can change the appearance of your assistant. But this will be very expensive to do, so I guess you'll have to be really into your assistant if you're interested in using this feature. Now, whilst on the topic of assistants, have you ever wondered what your assistant actually does while she's sitting at her desk in your office? Well, as it turns out, she doesn't really do all that much, and she isn't exactly the most useful of people in the game either, but while sitting at her desk, there are two things she mainly does. The first one being checking her nails, and the second one being typing some stuff into her PC. And you can in fact take a look at exactly what she's typing by simply going into first person, or of course using the camera to zoom in. And as you guys can see, she is typing out a letter beginning with "Hello, sirs." That's all she's done. That's as far as she gets. It doesn't progress from there. Pretty useless, I know, but I thought I would share this with you guys anyway, just in case there are people out there that like the small details just like this one. Now at first it may seem like your assistant is pretty useless and doesn't really do all that much, but as it turns out, she's a lot more useful and more of an asset to you than you may realize. Now some players have realized this already, but I'm sure there are still plenty of players out there that didn't know this. Every now and again your assistant will call you up and notify you about special packages and crates which are much more valuable than the ones which you can purchase on the PC in your office. Now I myself still have not had the opportunity of this. The items themselves are rare. I'm not really too sure how often they actually occur, but basically every now and again whilst you're playing in free mode, whether it's driving around or in your office, your assistant will give you a call and notify you about some special crates you can go ahead and pick up. And these items would include things such as a golden egg, a Sasquatch suit, and I think there's a few other things as well. But if you go ahead and pick these up and take them back to your warehouse, you can sell them for a lot more money than the standard items. So definitely listen out for these phone calls from your assistant, as the items themselves are worth a lot of money. Anyway, so I'm sure you guys have realized by now that the new offices are in fact dynamic and will change based upon the stuff which you have in your warehouse. So for example, if you have weapons and ammo in your warehouse, there'll be some guns and ammo inside of your office. If you have narcotics, there'll be drugs around your office, and so on. Well, as it turns out, the more stuff you sell, the more money piles also appear in your office. Now, I haven't really sold much contraband yet, there isn't too much money in my office, but here's a picture giving you guys an example of what it looks like when you sold loads of contraband from your warehouses. There is literally piles of money littering the floor, just showing off this person's wealth. I'm not too sure if this money is permanent, I'm guessing it's only temporary, but it's still a pretty cool feature which you can then use to show off to your friends or other players in the session. Now in the Finance and Felony update, we didn't receive any new weapons, but instead we received some new weapon attachments in the form of a new drum and box magazine. These of course will increase the amount of ammo you can have in one mag. For example, the AK usually has 60 bullets in the extended mag, whereas this drum mag can store up to 100 bullets. But do bear in mind, although you can have more weapons in your magazine to use, when you go to reload, it will take you slightly longer to reload overall. So it takes around about a second or so to reload the drum mag, whereas the extended mag is around about half a second. It's not a huge difference, but it's still something to bear in mind when in gun battles. Now, over the past few days, many of you guys have in fact been asking me how much is a full warehouse of crates worth when you go to sell it. Well, as it turns out, if you have the biggest warehouse, which of course is 111 crates, when you go to sell it all in one go, it's worth just over $2.2 million. But do bear in mind it will cost you almost $700,000 to purchase 111 crates, and that's on the basis you don't spend any money using Pegasus vehicles or anything along those lines. But there is still a huge profit margin to be made from doing this, but it will take you some time to completely fill your warehouse. Now, a feature that was shown off in the update trailer that many players haven't realized yet is that when the CEO sits down on the boardroom table at the end chair, they will in fact pull out a revolver and place it down on the table. Now, I've also seen some players in videos and in pictures on the Snapmatic hold these weapons and point them at different players around the boardroom. I'm not really too sure how they've managed to do that. I haven't actually tried out this feature myself, but by the looks of things, although you can't use it whilst in this room, is able to pick it up and point it at certain players whilst talking. And the seat at the end of the table, the one which I just sat in, can only be sat in by the CEO. When other players of the organization or just random players in the free mode session try to sit at this seat, it will say it's not possible. Now, as I'm sure you guys know, when the associates take part in the buying and selling of contraband alongside the CEO, they receive a cut of $10,000. Well, this in fact has changed today on June 10th. Rockstar released an update into the game. At the moment it's only available on PC, but I'm sure it will be available very soon on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 that fixes this low cut and increases it to a fair amount. I'm not entirely sure what players actually get paid, but I'm guessing it will be very similar to the amount the CEO receives when selling contraband. But moving on to the final feature you guys may not be aware about, that being that you receive a trophy once you sell an entire warehouse of contraband. So once you've filled an entire warehouse of 111 crates and then sell it all in one go, you'll receive a SecuroServe trophy, which is then placed inside of your office on the CEO's desk. Well, there we go guys. With that being said, those are 10 things in GTA Online from the Further Adventures in Finance and Felony update that you may not be aware about. Like I said before, if you guys want to go ahead and check out either part 1 or part 2, there are links in the description, so feel free to go ahead and click those and check them out if you want. But if you guys could take a few seconds out of your day to click the like button, it would help me out a lot and it's also greatly appreciated. Also be sure to let me know your thoughts and feelings about these features by leaving a comment on the video. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I recommend that you do, because I upload all the latest and the greatest Grand Theft Auto 5 content. So once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time.